विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ आत्मा कः? स्थूलसूक्ष्मकारणशरीरात् व्यतिरिक्तः पंचकोशातीतः सन् अवस्थात्रयसाक्षी सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपः सन् यस्तिष्ठति स आत्मा। So we are seeing this Satchidananda Swarupa San Yah Tishtati Sa Atma. So Atma is Satchidananda Swarupa. We have negated what Atma is not, and now we are seeing what Atma is. What is its nature? And well, Atma being I'm being a self-conscious, and also there is a self-ignorance. And therefore, already there is a conclusion about Atma, other than Satchidananda. So, and the conclusion is, I am not Sat, but I am Asat. I am mortal. I am not Chit. I am not just knowledge. I am ignorant. That's my conclusion. And Ananda, no, I am not Ananda. I am unhappy. I am sorrowful, etc. So, just reverse conclusion. Conclusion is just reverse to what my real nature is. And that also we have seen that how come I am not ignorant? How can you say that I am ignorant is that self-conclusion is a self-confusion? How can you say that? Well, then we showed that I am ignorant also is a point of view actually. I am knowledgeable also is a point of view. And the consciousness reveals, that's my real nature, which is consciousness, reveals both what I know and what I don't know. And so that way I am neither ignorant nor knowledgeable. Ignorance and the knowledge, so-called, is an object of consciousness. I reveal both. That is why I am able to say I don't know this much. So what I don't know also is revealed in presence of consciousness. What I know also is revealed in presence of consciousness. And therefore these are just point of view. And even to say this point of view is nothing wrong in that. I am ignorant, if you say, there is nothing wrong. But understand it is a point of view. And the view is that I am just a invariable consciousness which is present in both. I am ignorant in which that in that conclusion also as a consciousness I am present. I am knowledgeable also in that conclusion I am consciousness as a present, revealing both the knowledge and ignorance pertaining to the intellect, etc. Well, and therefore this is the view that I am invariable consciousness which is present, revealing both ignorance and knowledge. And the point of view is definitely I am ignorant or I am knowledgeable. And also we have seen that the pressure to be knowledgeable, is because I am not ignorant. That itself proves there is a pressure to be knowledgeable, to get rid of ignorance. To get rid of ignorance itself proves that that is not my nature. That's all. What is not my nature, I want to get rid of. And then if you get rid of, then you will not survive. No. I can survive without ignorance. I can survive without ignorance. And therefore, water can survive without being hot. That's all it is. Therefore, it wants to get rid of the heat. Then we say, if you do not remain hot, you will not survive. It says, I will survive. I don't want to survive as a hot thing. I want to survive as my own nature, that is coolness. And therefore, a nature with which I can survive. If nature goes, things go. Any object, when it loses nature, means that object also is vanishing. That's all. And therefore, so the pressure there is to be knowledgeable and to get rid of ignorance. That's a purushartha in my life. Itself indicates that I am not ignorant. That's the reality. Therefore, I am ignorant is a confusion. Is a confusion born of the ignorance of myself. And so this is one of the thing we have discussed. And then also I am mortal also is the same way. Self-confusion born of a self-consciousness. 100% self-consciousness is there. But there is a self-ignorance, and therefore the body, etc. I take it as myself. And then the body is mortal. I say I am mortal. Any body is mortal ultimately. Right now we say the physical body, but ultimately all the bodies are mortal, which I have discussed in evening class when I had given you the definition of deha. Please try to connect all this. Deha, I have given you the definition dahyamanatva deha. Dah means to burn. Means any body can be burnt. Therefore means it is mortal. If it can be burnt, then it is definitely a mortal thing. And any body means what? Physical body, and then subtle body, and the causal body. All can be born and all can be burnt. For the people who are ignorant, it is going to come that for people who are ignorant, physical body is definitely going to be burnt because it is born of karma. But other bodies also can be burnt. That's not for all. That's only for jnani. For others, these two bodies survive, and that's how the janma also will be there. So far as subtle body and causal body, that is ignorance, is there, one is going to get a new body, physical body. To get a new physical body is called janma. To get rid of this physical body is called mrityu, death. So anyway, I am the truth of the time, and therefore I am not mortal. I am not time bound. I am the truth of the time. The truth of the time is now. Truth of the time is present. You see, the past only exists when you are in present. There is no past, really speaking, in the past. Past is not a past in there. When you face those situations, it was a present. So now it is a past. So now it is past. So past exists in now. The future also exists in now. When you are going to face the future, it will be present. And therefore, past and future, you can be always being in the present. Present is present, past is present, future is present. Everything is present only. And what is present? Consciousness is. You can talk about past. Past is. Consciousness is. That is. Past is. Consciousness is. Future is. Consciousness is. Future means plans. Past means all load. All what I have faced. All this. Anyway, plan also is a load, and this all our memory also is a load. I am always a loaded person. And that's how, I get fatigue. Waking state becomes a fatigue. Within few hours, people become fatigued because load, all the time carrying a big load. But the load of present, it is all right because you have to face. But load of the past, people keep carrying, which one need not keep. But people just keep. And future, I don't know what is going to come. But in terms of plan, I keep, I remain loaded with lots of plans and every day new plans. That's the beauty. Every day new plans of the future, new, and hardly anything gets fructified. What? Because situation, the future reveals itself in an entirely different way. When sometimes that's how we get astonished. What? I have never thought of Swamiji this kind of thing. Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. So, you get rid of this load of plans and of the future and the past. Anyway, what is present is consciousness. That's all it is. Consciousness, the meaning of consciousness is present. One who lives in present is a qualified person to gain this knowledge, in my opinion. More than sadhan chatushtaya sampatti. What is my opinion is one who lives in present, rather than keep worrying about the future, or rather than keep loading your mind of the past. One lives just in present. He is the topmost qualified person, in my opinion, to gain this knowledge, because what is present is not the time. Please understand, what is present is just consciousness. Well, we don't want to analyze right now, but what is present is just consciousness. So one lives with the consciousness, it seems. One lives with present means one lives with the consciousness. Well, once you start living with the consciousness, you are going to get abundance on consciousness. That's a thing. And therefore, people hardly live in the present. People hardly live. All the time people live either in the past or in the future. Well, anyway, so basically Atma is timeless, and the truth of the time, past, present and future and everything so-called exist. The concept of time exists in consciousness. Consciousness does not exist in past. Consciousness does not exist in future. Then if consciousness exists in past, then right now I should not be conscious. Consciousness should not be there right now. Well, consciousness is a witness of everything. Not that particular time is a witness of a consciousness. And therefore, consciousness is na udeti, na stameti. It does not rise, it does not go, na stameti, vruddhim nayati. It does not increase. That's the nature of consciousness. That's how it has been described. Na udeti, na stameti, na vruddhim yati. Therefore, it doesn't rise, it doesn't go, means it doesn't come and go. That's all it means. It doesn't come and go. Coming and going is possible in terms of time. Well, and this consciousness is just there in now, and therefore we have seen many ways. And so consciousness is being timeless, is immortal, eternal. And therefore I am mortal, in that I am is all right. I is consciousness, am means is, and therefore consciousness is, that's fine. But this mortal, etc., well, that's a confusion. That's your conclusion, but it is a confusion. It's born out of something which is mortal. You have taken it as a self, which is not I, which is mortal. You have taken it as a yourself. Body is mortal. Well, it should not cause a problem. And that's how many bodies are falling apart. We are not concerned. We are not concerned. Not that for every death in the creation I am concerned. No. In fact, sometimes I bring an end to many bodies also. I bring an end. Sometimes I kill and get happiness also. Get happiness. I mean, not human body, don't worry. But especially mosquitoes, people, whenever the mosquito appears, they do that and they kill it. And then they throw it also. They kill the fly, they kill the cockroaches. They put an end to their bodies. But still you are comfortable. So body comes to an end, it's not a problem. Sometimes it becomes a source of joy also. But this body comes to an end. Well, that's not, that I can't accept. So this body is considered as a self. Well, and self being immortal, you cannot stand it. Mortality you cannot stand. Just as I told you, you cannot stand the ignorance because that's your nature. And therefore, same way you cannot stand the mortality also. Because that's not your nature. You are timeless and you consider yourself as a time bound. That's not your nature. Then how will you accept? You should not accept. And no one will accept. I need not teach anybody or advise anybody, don't accept mortality. He is not going to accept. He wants to live a day more and day more and day more. He wants all the time credit. Keeps lots of credit cards. He is born with these credit cards of, of living one day more, one day more, one day more. Well, anyway, so this is how the situation is. So I am mortal is also a conclusion. Well, it's a confusion, and that's a problem of a self-conscious human being. Now, the third thing, I am unhappy, etc. I am sad. That's also a conclusion I have. So someone can say, well, I am Satchit, all right, so understood. Sat means which is eternal, which is present in all the three periods of time. And that's all right, but knowing this I am Satchit, which you have described, that I am just consciousness and I am just knowledge, not ignorant, and I am not mortal, I am immortal, I am eternal, etc. Well, that's fine, very nice. But it has this new understanding of myself has made me more sad. So I thought the sadness would go away, sometime. But now you say that you are eternal and you exist in all the three periods of time, then I am going to be eternally sad. That's a conclusion now. Because I know that I am sad and that I is now eternal. Therefore I am going to be sad eternally. Well, then that has brought more sadness. You have given me understanding since 2 days. It has brought more sadness rather than making me happy. Well, so it doesn't solve my problem. So we have, it seems that we have this understanding of Satchit, I as a Satchit, has created a new problem. Well, I am eternally sad. Now what is to be done? Well, we are going to see. That also is a conclusion. And instead of a conclusion, drop the conclusion and write confusion. I am sad also is equally confusion only. See, let's start with this, a question. That are you always happy or occasionally happy? Well, if you immediately will say, I am occasionally happy. Definitely. Otherwise, I would not have told you I am sad, etc. So, occasionally I become happy and otherwise I remain sad. So, happiness is an event takes place in my life. It is like that. Happiness is an event takes place during waking state in a human being's life. Sometime I become happy. More or less I remain very, very uncomfortable with myself. So that's an event. Happiness is event takes place in my life, and event means which comes and goes. So happiness comes and goes away, never remains. And therefore I am basically a sad person. And now with your understanding about the self, I am eternally sad. And now the happiness comes and goes in my life. So the sad person gets an additional attribute of happiness sometimes. I am sad, that's for sure. But this happiness comes. So a sad person gets an addition. I am sad, sadness is my attribute, intrinsic attribute. Happiness also comes and goes. It's an additional attribute which comes sometimes. Like a vessel, a steel vessel is there, it has its own attribute, right? It has some hardness and it has some kind of a shining and this and that. Well, that's correct. But it gets sometime an additional attribute of becoming hot. And it becomes hot for some time and then it goes. Then after, again you in the evening when you put on the stove, it becomes hot. Then after that, once you switch off the stove, that heat goes away. So same way, in my life also I am basically sad. That's my intrinsic attribute. This happiness comes and goes like this heat to the vessel. That's how it is. And therefore, like the heat, it is an adventitious attribute to the metal, just as it is an adventitious attribute to the metal. So the sad person also gains the additional attribute, a vishesha, of happiness. And so definitely, that is how I have to warm up also. The vessel has to be warm up. I also have to be warm up. in order to get happiness. I mean, I will have to do the music sometime so that I get some happiness. I get some kick. That's how Puja Swamiji used to, he uses a word kick. And it's really kick. Otherwise, I remain, a sad person. Sometimes I get kick through some kind of food I eat, or through some kind of a sounds I hear, through some kind of a forms I see. When I see, wow, so wow means that I got them. Now I have warmed up myself. Like the vessel is warmed up, it has become hot through the storm. I also get that additional attribute of happiness and through warming up myself. Well, that's happiness is an incidental attribute that is assumed by the sad individual. So if I is eternal, well, this situation is going to be there. That sometimes you remain sad all the time, and sometimes you get happiness and in the situations. And definitely on the situations which give you happiness, you will depend upon it also. So now let's go further. Okay, the situations which give you, so this is a conclusion. Please keep those conclusions in your mind, or you may note down just in a line that happiness is an additional attribute. Why? My experience. That's all. My experience. I don't find 24/7 happy myself, and therefore it comes and goes. That is also my experience. So I say it is occasional. What is occasional is an additional attribute to myself. What is intrinsic attribute? Intrinsic attribute is sadness. That's all. So I am sad indicates definitely sadness intrinsic attribute, and happiness incidental attribute. Comes and goes. Now let's go. And for happiness comes through the situation, definitely in my life. Therefore I depend upon the situations for the happiness. Now we analyze the situation. We'll have to go that way only, through the steps. Second thing now. The situation which gives you happiness, if you analyze, well, initially any situation gives you happiness. Any situation is an eye-catching situation for you, and afterwards you lose the charm in it. And therefore, when we become familiar with it, either maybe a new car, either maybe a new house, new furniture, either maybe a new dish, in terms of food, new dish, anything. Initially it attracts my attention, then I become familiar with it, and then I lose interest also, means it doesn't give me happiness at all. So, well, occasional situations of happiness comes in my life. In that also the situations are like this, on which I am dependent. They are not able to give me happiness all the time, and therefore I look for a new situation. And this is called samsara, and it is also eternal. This kind of thing, always looking for a new situation for happiness, is also eternal thing in the life. It also goes on and on. I am eternal, as you said, Swami, and this thing also is eternal. That dependent on situations, and that to new situations for happiness. Well, this kind of a search in life also is eternal, which we call as a samsara. He doesn't call, we call samsara. Samyak sarati. Always one looks for a new situations to get happiness. This is second thing. Third, now again I ask him that what do you think? He said same thing. You forget, Swami. I have already told you that occasionally I become happy. Then I said that's a saving grace. Look, now let us concentrate on this. Occasionally you become happy. Most of the time you are sad. Well, that is enough for. That is enough for to change your conclusion that I am unhappy. Well, how? See, when the occasion of happiness arises, when you become happy, does the sad person gets the happiness, or just a person gets happiness? He is a sad person only. I told you that's my intrinsic attribute. I am all the time sad. It's my intrinsic attribute. How can I get rid of the sadness? Since there is a sadness, only I am in search of the happiness. So the sad person only gathers the happiness. If the sad person gathers the happiness, means the sad person continue to exist. Do you agree with me? He says, yeah, the sad person continue to exist. Then I say it is like this. It is like when snow falls, then you wear that down jacket, right? You wear a down jacket. When you wear a down jacket, it's an additional thing on the person or not? Yeah, it's an additional thing. When you wear a down jacket, the person goes away. I mean, any person who wears a down jacket, that person goes away or remains. He remains. That's an additional thing. You are not able to understand, Swami. It's an additional thing. So same way, basically a person exists, and this is an additional thing of wearing a down jacket. Well, same way the sad person gets an happiness, that's an additional attribute, like an additional thing which he wears. Same way the sad person gets an happiness, the sad person continues. Like one wears a down jacket, the person remains, person doesn't vanish. Same way, the sad person remains and he has that additional attribute of happiness, like a down jacket. Well, then if sad person continues even in the moment of happiness, where is happiness? Where is happiness? So he said it is a happiness. But it's like what kind of a happiness? Like we sometimes get, enigmatic smile. In heart there is a lot of pain. But if some person has come and he is meeting you, and then you keep on giving little smile, but in your heart, basically there is sadness. And other person also realizes that. He cracks a joke to bring you into a real mood, but he gets failure. And to such a person, when somebody cracks a joke, so that Pujya Swami said he cracked a joke to a lady, and she did not laugh. One joke, did not laugh. Second joke, did not laugh. Third joke, of course, and she burst into a laughter. So the same person who is sad burst into a laughter. Is it not? Or it is. When he burst into laughter, is he a sad person or not? How can he be sad, Swamiji? You are not able to understand. Well, if the sad person becomes happy and the sadness continues, he cannot laugh heartily. If person laughs heartily, definitely at that moment there is no sadness. Well, that's a saving grace. That's a big thing. And therefore, when we laugh heartily, definitely what we see is that at that moment we don't care for anything. And your concern for the future or your past, which was loading your mind, all seem to have disappeared for that moment. All seem to have disappeared for that moment. Well, so that is enough for me to analyze. Now let's go further. What happens is, a happiness is not an object. If it were the object, definitely we would try to get object. I always say that we can make a beeline towards that object and gain it. And we'll always keep with it because it makes us happy. But there is no object called happiness. One thing. I mean, we did not discuss, we already discussed this thing. And so there is no object called happiness, that's for sure. If there is an object of happiness for a human being, entire humanity will call it an object of happiness. We have not found a single object till today. Till this moment, no one can tell me that this object is happiness for the entire humanity. No. Well, then you forget it. Because one is an object of happiness, other person say it is an object of unhappiness for me. So there is no object called happiness. That's for sure. So this thing, then maybe the happiness is an attributor of an object. Well, that is also not possible. Then if it is an attribute of an object, happiness is an attribute of object, well, I should experience it. Well, I experience the happiness. But other person, when it comes in contact with it, he doesn't feel happy. In fact, he feels unhappy. And therefore, happiness is not an object. Happiness is not an attribute of object. Happiness is not an attribute of mind. Somebody said, no, it is not there. It is an attribute of mind. Mana eva sukhasya karanam. Mind alone is a cause of happiness. If suppose happiness is an attribute of the mind, then in whom does the sadness belong? Whom does the sadness belong? Then he says sadness also belongs to the mind. Now tell me. Where happiness lies. Happiness lies in the mind. Is it an attribute of mind, or is it unhappiness is an attribute of mind? Well, I don't know, because they are opposite attributes, and therefore now he is adding another thing. Mana eva sukhasya dukkhasya karanam. Mind alone is a cause of happiness and unhappiness. Cannot be. It is not possible. Opposite attributes cannot remain in one place. That much we know. Please show me a single object with opposite attributes. Either one can remain. Like one is hot also and one is cold also. No. That's not possible. And therefore, happiness is not an attribute of mind, and happiness is not an object. Happiness is not an attribute of object also. So happiness is neither object nor an attribute of object nor an attribute of mind also. A particular time also is not called happiness. Please analyze this after the class is over. Particular time is not also a source of happiness. 10 o'clock means happiness. Everyone starts clapping. We have to tell to clap. And even if someone claps, he claps with a lot of unhappiness also. Because he doesn't want to clap and he is told to clap. And so he was so angry. So with anger he claps. Like suppose I tell you, this is just a joke, that after the class is over, please clap for me. Then you say, what is this? What kind of a Swami it is? He all the time wants recognition and tells us to clap. Anyway, let me finish up this Tattvabodha. I don't want to see his face any further. See, we are analyzing our experience. We are analyzing just human experience. That's all. That's all it is. Vedanta, the beauty of Vedanta is this. What you have already experienced but brought a wrong conclusion. And experience never teaches. Experience is a dumb thing. So if they are not properly analyzed, experience cannot teach anything. People are just behind experiences. Well, it cannot teach. It has to be through some kind of a means of knowledge, properly analyzed, and then it will give you a big understanding. Anyway, so happiness, the particular time also is not a source of happiness. Particular object is not a source of happiness. Mind is not a source of happiness. A particular place is also not a source of happiness. Anywhere you go either go to Hawaii, you will come back after 10 days and you say, my home is better than Hawaii. Definitely. Everyone goes out in order to feel that their home is better than any place in the world. Ultimately, for that purpose only they go. Because they get fed up sometimes. And they just go out. And then after a week they realize that no, our home is much better than this place. And this is how it is. So no place is also a source of happiness. Whole world is gone. Whole world. World is not a source of happiness. Whole world is gone. How? Time? No. Place? No. Object? No. Mind? No. No. Neither attribute also of any object. Neither attribute of mind. Everything gone. So world is not a source of happiness. But definitely world is a source of unhappiness, Swami. Well, it is, if it cannot give you happiness, it cannot become a source of unhappiness also. Anything which, if you feel that is a source of happiness, the same thing could become a source of unhappiness. The very same thing. And that's how, we always say, one who wants to gain this knowledge, he should be relatively free from this notion that world is giving happiness and world is giving unhappiness. Relatively free. That is called titiksha. That's titiksha. Yam hina vyathayantyete purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram somrutattvaya kalpate. This a person alone gains the moksha. He alone is capable of gaining moksha. One has become equal in terms of happiness and unhappiness. Thinking that world is giving me happiness, a world is giving me unhappiness, well, that's not correct. Yam hi na vyathayanti ete na vyathayanti yam purusham. This matra sparshaha, when your senses come in contact with the sensory world, well, it generates some kind of a sukha dukkha, but he doesn't take that he is sukhi or dukhi. Well, I mean, he does not take in the mind that way that world is a source of happiness, world is a source of unhappiness. World is not capable of producing unhappiness or happiness. It can cause some physical pain, physical comfort, definitely. Well, that's correct. It can cause a physical comfort. It can cause a physical pain. Both is possible. And so, world always is made up of opposites. All opposites are there. In world, if you, all kinds of opposites, Shita, Ushna, etc., we have seen all this heat and cold and everything. And therefore, world has opposites. And therefore, it can bring a comfort, it can bring a pain, etc., but it cannot cause unhappiness. The person who is relatively, one who is qualified for this knowledge, he has become relatively clear. He is clear that world is not a source of happiness and world is not a source of unhappiness also. So, at least we have established right now that there is no source of happiness outside called world. Then if it is, okay, am I a source of unhappiness or not? Well, I can be both happy and unhappy. If I am the source of unhappiness, then who is the source of happiness? Like, because I said the world cannot give you happiness. We have seen. Then only thing is left is I. I and the world. Two things are there. If you say world is not giving you happiness, I am the source of happiness. Well, if I am the source of happiness, what is the source of unhappiness? I am the source of happiness because world is not even a source of unhappiness also. That's all that we told. World is not a source of happiness, world is not a source of unhappiness also. Then I am the source of happiness, I am the source of unhappiness. Nothing else? No, there is no happiness and there is no unhappiness. No, don't say that. Don't say that. There is an experience of happiness and unhappiness. Somewhere we will have to find a source. If world is not there, I am there as a source of happiness or unhappiness. What is true, what is not true? I am a source of happiness is true, or I am source of unhappiness is true. Unhappiness that is true. What is true? See, if I am the source of happiness, if that is not true, let us say, understand this, I am the source of happiness, if that is not true, definitely then the one who is unhappy has to become happy, right? Because I am not source of happiness. I am not. Or I am a source of happiness, that is not true, let's say. I said that way, it's one thing. If I am source of happiness, that is not true, then definitely I am unhappy and I have to become happy person. Correct? That is, you have understood this much? I am unhappy and I have to become happy. Then one who is unhappy, becoming happy is contradiction. One who is unhappy by nature, sad, as we earlier said, sad. One who is unhappy becomes happy person. That's not possible. That's not possible. Why? Because if unhappiness is my nature, he cannot become happy. So, one who is unhappy can become happy person is a contradiction. Same way, If I am the source of happiness, that is true, let's say, then I am a happy person becomes unhappy also is a contradiction. These two contradictions are there. We are going to analyze these two contradictions. First contradiction. I am source of happiness, one thing. I am source of unhappiness, other thing. What is true, what is not true, I have asked you. Suppose I am source of happiness is not true. I am source of happiness is not true. Okay, fine. I am not source of happiness. Then I am unhappy person. I have to become happy person, right? Clear? I have to become happy person. Then one who is unhappy can become happy is a contradiction, because unhappiness is my nature. Then definitely I cannot become happy, right? And therefore this is just a contradiction. Second possibility. I am source of unhappiness. I am source of, or let's put that way, I am source of happiness is not true. Same way I am source of unhappiness also is not true. Let's say, if I am source of unhappiness is not true, then I am happy person. Then I am happy person by nature, then happy person becomes unhappy. Also is a contradiction. Clear? This is clear. If it is clear to you, I will go ahead. If it is clear to anyway, I think I felt in the morning itself, I should write down the points and give it to you. And that's much better. In the whole class, in certain points I should give it, because this is the most important thing. That is the Purushartha in life, to become happy. That's all the whole thing is. Whole life is meant for that. And in which there is some confusion. Well, we have to resolve the confusion in order to really enjoy the life. And therefore, these two contradictions are there. I am unhappy and I have to become happy. Contradiction. Unhappy can never become happy. That's what I mean. And I am happy and will become unhappy. It becomes, looks like, and therefore that is also contradiction, because happiness is my nature. One who is happy cannot become unhappy. See, additional attributes are okay, nothing to worry, but opposite attributes cannot. If I am happy by nature, that's what it means actually, and then can become unhappy, it's not possible. That's contradiction. So two contradictions are there. And out of these two contradictions, if I ask you, I am not able to give you time, but if you have noted and you just look into one contradiction you feel you can resolve, that you like of, another contradiction you will not like. You feel that is impossible. What contradiction you feel you can resolve? Look, if I am happy and then become unhappy, suppose, that contradiction seems to be one which I can manage. Why? Because if I am the source of happiness and my unhappiness is due to some wrong thinking, then I can definitely correct that thinking and become happy or remain happy. Because I am source of happiness, so become happy need not be. I am happy, or I am the source of happiness, and therefore I can remain happy. Right? This is one possibility. Second possibility, if I am unhappiness and happy, then happiness will not be possible at all. Think, if I am unhappiness, I am unhappy, then I cannot bring the happiness out of something, because I remain unhappy all the time. Happiness cannot be brought if I am unhappy. See, earlier thing you see once again, if I am the very source of happiness, then unhappiness which has come is due to some wrong thinking and I can correct it. I think you like this possibility because people are nodding their heads. So they like this possibility. But if I am unhappiness, then happiness is not possible at all. So if I am happiness, even my wrong thinking cannot keep me from being happy. I will show you your experience. I will show your experience itself. If I am happiness and because of some kind of a wrong thinking and unhappiness has arisen in me, I can correct it. And even if the wrong thinking persists, I will not correct. Still, I can become happy person. I can become happy person. Whereas the other possibility in which I am just unhappiness, then that's my nature. No way I can become happy. No way. Unhappiness is my nature. Happiness is not possible. Well, so you like one contradiction, and so, but what were the contradictions? Then I have to repeat again. What were the contradictions? I have to repeat again. Sabi, you gave a resolution, but we have forgotten the contradiction itself. Then I have to give you again those contradictions. I will remind you. The first contradiction is what? One who is unhappy becoming happy is a contradiction. One who is happy becomes unhappy is another contradiction, right? And out of these contradictions, I gave you a solution that one contradiction you feel you can manage, you can manipulate and try to resolve that contradiction. What is that contradiction which you can resolve? If I am unhappy, I am happy and then become unhappy, well then this particular contradiction I can resolve because I am the source of happiness, and it may be possible that my unhappiness is due to wrong thinking. Well, then I can correct the wrong thinking. No, but I don't want to correct. No problem. No problem. If you are a source of happiness and unhappiness is due to wrong thinking and you don't want to correct, then don't think that you will remain unhappy or you will get unhappiness. Even in spite of your wrong thinking, you drop that wrong thinking for a time being and you can become happy. Could you follow what I am saying? But if I am unhappy, I am source of unhappiness, well, happiness is not possible. If I am the source, please understand that. What you are thinking, I know. You think that I am unhappy, I can get rid of. I can catch hold of this object and get rid of unhappiness. Well, if you get rid of, then you are not source of unhappiness. So what we are thinking is, am I a source of happiness or unhappiness? That's where we have started the question. And then we thought of it. Then what we analyzed, if I am a source of happiness, then I should be a source of unhappiness, etc., etc. Then if I am a source of happiness, then unhappiness which comes, right? I can become unhappy is contradiction. And if I am source of unhappiness and I can become happy is also a contradiction. But out of these two contradictions, one contradiction you can resolve. And that contradiction is, I am happy person, I am a source of happiness, and unhappiness can be due to wrong thinking. Then I can correct that thinking. Then definitely I can remain happy. And the other contradiction is, I am unhappiness. I am unhappy, I am source of unhappiness, and then happiness is not possible. You cannot change the source. You cannot change the nature. Could you follow? That's how it is. And beautiful thing is, even my wrong thinking, which makes me away from my own nature of happiness, that can remain and still I can become happy. That can remain. I have not corrected that wrong thinking. Still I can become happy person. And that is called apohanam by Bhagavan. I will tell you that. One good thing about the thinking, we are talking about the wrong thinking, but let's go before that thinking, to a thinking. Good thing about thinking that it is like clouds. Right now in our Pennsylvania, clouds. They keep coming and going, keep coming and going, keep coming and going. This thinking also is like that. They keep coming and going, keep coming and going. No thought can stay. No thought can stay. Well, and you should be thankful to a God for this purpose. That's a grace of a God that you forget. It just goes. Because if thoughts were to stay, you would not be able to see the things discreetly. Right? So, right now there is a thought of this in your sight. You are seeing this. And when I bring this, now you are seeing this, in which there is no trace of clip. No trace. Right now you are seeing this, there is no trace of clip. That means the clip thought has arisen and gone completely. Pen thought has arisen, gone completely. And then mobile thought has arisen, gone completely. Completely gone. Otherwise, when you are seeing a pen, this will overlap. If that thought persists, this will overlap with this. Then this will overlap with this. You see two things. You will ask me, Swamiji, are you showing me pen or a mobile? I say, I am showing you pen, but I am seeing mobile. Well, then there is a problem. So thought arises, goes. Thought arises, goes. A single thought arises and goes. And well, it's a momentary, and that momentary thought is a blessing. Who says? Bhagavan says. Bhagavan says it is my vibhuti. Bhagavan said it is my vibhuti that a thought is a momentary, which is called apohanam. Bhagavan has said in, I don't remember the chapter, mattas smrutir jnanam apohanam cha. From me alone this jnanam and memory and apohanam. Apohanam is forgetting. If thought arises, goes. Thought arises, goes. So, as a simple person, like without any kind of a knowledge of anything, no knowledge of Atma and God and all these things what we discussed, one is able to laugh for a moment. One is able to laugh for a moment. If that is also not there, one would not live. Really speaking, one would not live. One would not like to continue one's own life if there are no moments of happiness. There are no moments of laughter. So, definitely that shows that even my wrong thinking, etc. is there, which brings me unhappiness. Well, temporary. Anything could be a nimitta for that, but in that moment, you forget everything. That whole pattern of thought or whole pattern of thinking which has made you unhappy, you forget for a time being. And you burst into a laughter. Somebody cracks a joke, or you see a child, or you see a sunrise. In America, to see a sunrise and clear sky is also a moment of joy. Really. No snow, no rain. Wow, what a beautiful thing. So, anything. Or see a good bird. Anything. So, when you see that, your thinking was going on which was making you unhappy. When you see that, the whole thinking drops. It was a wrong thinking, but the whole thinking drops. Why I call wrong thinking later. But this thinking, let's say this thinking gets dropped and you become happy person. So that this is called, I suspend all my opinions about the world, and time being, I become happy person. So I'm not an enlightened person, but I am lightened in this moment and become happy person. Time being. So all the time I remain as a loaded person. I had a history means I have past, and I have a lot of projection of the future. Future is loaded with all the plans, and the past of course is on all these things I have loaded myself with that still. And so many, that's how a lot of fears, anxieties, everything is there. With all these things are there in the mind, in my thinking all these things are there, then there is impossible to laugh. There is impossible to get even a moment of happiness. the way, the way my past I carry, definitely there is no moment of happiness. No moment should be possible. And so much of projection of the future, so much. Whenever I sit with myself, I am in the present as such, but my mind goes to the future and visualize the different situations. And if they visualize and become happy, that's also fine. That's called manorajyam. That's also fine. But instead, I become unhappy. I just get up and start singing something or calling somebody or go out of the home, because now you cannot stand. By looking into the projections of the future, and that will not be the case in the future, but still I keep on projecting and becoming so unhappy. Then there is, with such a loaded mind of the future, of the past, so much anxieties and fears I have, there should not be a single moment of happiness for a human being. And if such a situation would really be there in this earth, there would not be any human beings, because no one can sustain interminable pain. No one can sustain. Well, even with all these pains and anxieties and fears and future of the past and everything, in between, some moments of laughter, some moments of joy arise. In those moments, all the fears, anxieties, thinking, all get dropped. That's God's grace. It is called apohanam, forgetting. This is a very big thing. We always curse ourselves that we forget a lot of things. Well, whenever you forget, think that it is good. Otherwise, my mind would be have a lot of traffic jam, and there is tremendous traffic. But this is a big thing in our life, that apohanam. So our capacity to suspend the whole personality, the personality which is having a lot of anxieties and fears and everything, well, such personality gets just drop in a moment of joy. And only the person is there, the personality is gone. That person, well, who says, I am sad, which is having a conclusion about the history, etc., that person who was telling I am sad is suspended in that moment. And so if something amuses you, you can laugh very heartily, well, then there is ananda, of course. And in this ananda, whatever object which is in front, well, it doesn't invoke in you a wanting being at that moment. If that object is as though embraced in me. Even there are no two things. In a subject and object, when there is a moment of joy, both of them as though resolve into a one flame of consciousness. Just a person. Whole personality is gone. And this is what a moment of joy does. So a wanting person, what is in the front, it does not invoke in you a wanting person, a dissatisfied person. And that is the moment of joy. It reveals something about you as a person. When the personality gets dropped, just a person remains. Personality has all the anxieties, fears, projections, loaded with the past, everything, limitations, all this. That personality is dropped, just a person remains. Well, that person who has embraced even what is in the front, and such a person is revealed in moment of joy. That's how it is. So you are the source of happiness. And further, I will analyze it in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.